Hello and welcome to Living the Zolkeen. I'm your host, 3Seed Paul, and on today's show we have once again Apab'yan, who is a Mayan daykeeper, a midwife, a spiritual teacher, an all-around super cool dude. In this episode, we discuss dreams and some of the many ways of interpreting them. I hope you guys really enjoy this episode. Today, I wanted to ask you, it depends on what you want to talk about, but I wanted to ask you about dreams. If you could, talk about dreams a little bit.
Yeah, I can talk about whatever you want. What about dreams? What did you want to know?
Well, last time we just talked about it really briefly. And it was, you had just mentioned that, the purpose of the dream was 9 days before, and the way of the dream, or the way was 9 days after, and that's about all we kind of talked about.
Yeah, it is based in the Mayan principle, or just an observation. It is not necessary to call it the principle. The elders didn't used to classify knowledge as the principles, the rules, the things like that.
What would they say?
An observation. That it means a real worth. Real worth. Not just in the sense of the 7 laws of the Mayans or the 10 commandments. There's no...
The 4 agreements? There's no 4 agreements?
The 4 agreements. No, there's nothing like that in the real indigenous world. So there are some observations. Sometimes, as I told you, some people say it's the 7 principles, the 9 principles, whatever, but that is just a way to make classifications in the Western world. Okay. For us, it was just in observations. One of those, and one of the main and the most important, says that everything has a mother and a father, or a feminine principle of creation, and a masculine principle of formulation, or everything has a mother and a father, everything has a feminine and a masculine principle. So we treat everything under that scheme. Mm-hmm. And let me just for these purposes, let me open a page for my translator assistance. The lady that used to help me.
Scheme.
A scheme. Okay. So, everything that happens, we use this scheme to analyze everything. We count, taking into account the day in which something occurs. We explain how it is going to develop, counting nine days, and by counting backwards, we know how it started. What was the ignition, the beginning, the point of the first step of whatever. So this same scheme applies to a dream. So there's another observation that says that everything pertains to system. Everything pertains to a system, or anything is isolated. So you always are going to analyze everything using schemes in which everything is interconnected. So in the morning or in the midnight, obviously you can wake up after a dream in the middle of the night, or in the late or late in the morning, or in whichever moment. You can count count the days to understand which is the plot,
Okay.
the weft. I think it's more proper weft, because it's like waving. So weft, to know how is woven these dreams, how you analyze what started, how it is going to develop, and what the dream is telling you in the moment. There are some key elements to analyze in different ways. Like, for example, this common rule to understand that if a dream happens close to midnight, whatever the dream is telling you is going to last. You have time to change things. But if the dream appears close to the morning or in the morning, then there's not so much time, or there's even no time. You have to quickly try to resolve, or quickly try to adapt, to understand what the dream is telling you. That's some rule. I don't know if secret, but if secret, I already told it. tell this. There are some others, as for example, that if you saw light in the dream, then the dream is for you, especially for you, directly to you. But if you saw darkness, or if there's no clarity in the dream, or you cannot remember, then the dream may or may not could be for you. Maybe some others dream the message is for someone else. There's also a huge amount of different elements that can give you a key to understand directly what the dream is about. As for example, the hair. The hair is very important in hair in dream analysis translation. We don't use the word analysis. We said translate a dream. Tell me what is it is a matter of a dialogue, so it is not an analysis as such. It's a translation of a dialogue done by an owl, or by an spirit, or by an energy, if you want to call it like that. The spirit, the inner spirit of something. And as for example, as I told you, hair is very important to try to analyze. If you saw your hair or someone else's hair in fire, that's a huge problem. We said his hair strength is going to burn. So that could mean sadness, this like guiltiness of having doing something, pain, and inner problems, but not only not only the spiritual ones or problems to deal with, but also related to physical problems. If you saw you are losing your hair, if you saw that someone cuts your hair, if your hair is white, if you don't not have hair, and you have to pay attention to hair all the time. As for example, in my personal case, I've been once I was dreamed by a friend, and she told me that she saw me with my hair in fire, and in that moment, 15, 16 years ago, I didn't understand the message of the dream, but no less than a couple of weeks, I was having one of my worst problems that I faced in life, and I lasted months to recover. So sometimes you will use a combination of the reading of the elements of the dream, what is contained, what is happening inside the dream, at what time, if there's light, if there's no light, if you are the same, if you are not the same, if you recognize people. Well, the reading of elements in the dream, and also the Mayan calendarical counts, to understand the full message of different entities or nawals, spirits, energies, or whatever, as I said, as you want to call it, what they wanted to tell you. In my case, I think is one of my gifts. Well, I say it's one of my gifts that, as I already told you, I think in the first interview, that even from childhood I have to go to bed close to a light, and to try to always have some light close to me, for me to try always to light a source of light in the middle of the darkness, because I was always having problems in that sense. So and for me in this moment, not really in a daily basis, but almost, let's say 4 or 5 of an entire week, I do it during the day and take decisions for actions and development of actions, decisions, according to what I dream.
Wow.
Yeah, I can change everything if a dream can tell me something that is going to, let's say, to happen in a backward way. For me, I can change. I can call people and say, "Oh, forgive me. I will do. I can't go. I will not go," or to do something, to buy something, to change something, to call someone. That's one of my. For example, for my healing purposes, after years and years of experience, whenever I finished a ceremonial healing or a message or whatever that I do, I tend to let the people go. Sometimes I ask here and there, "How are you doing? How have you been? What happened? Tell me." But most of the time, let's say like 90%, I let the people go. I let them go. There's so much quantity of elements and perceptions to have everybody in the mind and in the heart, so I let them go. But whenever a dream occurs, pointing me something to a person in the morning, that's the first call that I do. And it is, and I can, and there's so much proof about this that people it is going to tell me, I was thinking about you. I was about to call you, but I didn't know if you were in Mexico or something like that. Or people in Guatemala told me, "Can I ask you something?" That happens also. For example, this is some other level, but it functions the same for me. I have cacti plants in my garden. They came from different places. Like, for example, one of the most beautiful is a beautiful Argentinian big cacti. But I have some from Mexico deserts. I have some from South Mexico deserts. I planted seeds from Arizona. I planted seeds from Chihuahua, Mexico, and I have some from Madagascar, from some South Africa. They are not really cacti, but well, they function as a cacti. Let's say they have thorns, but they always have they have different water necessities.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me tell you which is the most funny thing about this. Well, at the beginning was painful because I love them, and because I travel so much, so I have not so much time to be pouring water all the time. But being so different and having different necessities, what I do is that I don't pour water. I don't put them water. I wait for them to call me in dreams. Whenever a cacti asks me for water, I'm going to dream about that cacti. And that's something that I love because I don't know if this is the proper word, but I kill some of them by putting so much water, by not understanding how much water the next and the other will need, because they have different water necessities. So now what I do is to wait for the dream, and I know, believe me, I know that whenever I dream a cacti, then in the morning I will go and put water to the one that I dreamed. That's my case in a common base. For example.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I like how you explained that the dream is a medium of communication.
For me, it is. It is. For me, it is like. For me, it is a solution also. I, as any other human being, sometimes I will not read what is in front of me. Or for example, my bodily signals may cause me confusion, for example, or the reading of something that is in front of me could not be so clear to understand. But I always wait to have the clue in dreaming, because whatever that happens, I'm going to dream it.
There's lots of people that don't have dreams that often. I find that I go through phases where I have a lot of dreams, and then I don't have a lot of dreams, and then I get back into it where I have dreams almost every day, and then maybe a few weeks will go by, or even a few months where I don't. And I think a lot of our busy lives and stuff, it's not something that we pay so much attention to. But for a while there, for example, I was reading a book about the Mayan dream studies or ideas or something like that, and I thought it was really cool. And so I began to get into the habit of writing down my dreams and writing down which day they happened on. And so I ended up just in my phone, because I'd wake up at 5 in the morning, kind of half, because you forget your dreams really quickly if you don't pay attention to them. And I would write it down really quickly and then kind of go back to sleep or something like that. Um, I have a funny dream. It keeps happening. I have this dream maybe twice a year, but I don't know if I'll share it with you. Yeah, sure, I'll just tell you. It's pretty stupid. I have this dream where it's the worst dream I have. Like, I don't really have nightmares, which is, I guess I'm lucky. But I have this dream where I shit my pants, and then I'm running to the toilet. And I'm like, oh shit, and I got all this shit, in my pants, and I'm running up the stairs, in in a school or something like that, like maybe my high school, and I'm like, or like maybe I didn't shit my pants, but I'm about to shit my pants, and I'm like just bursting at the seams, and then I get in there, and yeah, that's my dream, and I have it probably about once or twice a year. And it just keeps coming back. And it's, these dreams where you're running, and you're running from something.
Running naked. Yes.
Yeah. So, but this one is it's not that bad. It's kind of funny, but it's about as bad as my dreams ever get, which is, I guess, kind of lucky. I had a friend. He would have nightmares pretty much every day. And the other thing I'll ask you about is what about flying? People fly a lot in dreams. Is there any metaphor that pertains to, or it depends on the context?
It depends on the knowledge of the day in which the person is born. It is not it has not the same meaning, because
that's amazing.
What happened is that it's like let me ask my assistant. Yeah, like a release, a liberation. Yes, it's what I will say is a way in which we feel, or we translate a release and a liberation of something, and or the end, or in a happily way of something, or reaching a point in a happily way. But it is going to be different, because, as for example, if you are born under Ishbalam, the Jaguar day, it is going, this flying effect is going to give the clue of some well done business, or something that got so much gaining. But if you are, let's say Nawal A, maybe you knew a good teacher, or you feel that you got something in learning, and then you're going to have this flying sensation or this flying dream. So it is going to depend on which is the nature of the Nawal you are born, and how that Nawal feels a liberation, a release, or a joyful touching of reaching a goal. It depends. It is not to be the same.
Well, that's really interesting. I've always been really skeptical of these dream interpretation books. Yeah, as you would find them in the crystal shops. I couldn't. I could only look at a few pages where I was just like, nah, I don't think so. But this kind of way of observing it, I thought it was really fascinating, and yeah, perhaps it could be a really useful tool. But it sounds like you really need a deep understanding of the Nawals and the symbolism, and there's a lot to know before you can start to begin to translate these dreams.
Um, let me take an
Sidestep.
side step.
Yeah, okay.
One of the most important explanations you are going to receive from a real dream translator, a spiritual guide, is in the way of something very peculiar, a key point. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell people. The best that you can, the best way in which you can learn to identify what is happening in your dreams, or to clarify your dreams, or to fight your dreams, or to become a dream, let's say, a specialist, is to understand the associations you do with things. Not the interpretation, but the association. Let's say, for example, something, an example. Let's say, for example, that during all my childhood, I didn't have a pet, a puppy or whatever, a cat, a dog, whatever. I didn't have it. And mostly what I saw was some others' happy relationship with, let's say, cats, my friends or whatever. In the other way, you grow up with so much cats, for example, and you were living with your aunt, and although she knew the hair of the cat was bad for you, and from time to time you had problems, she didn't care. Then, during your childhood, you made a strong, you make a different association of values or characteristics or properties even, and the nature, the spirit of something. In adulthood, let's say, following the example, for me to dream a cat, it is going to for me to dream a cat with no more being not so heavy as such.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, dreaming a cat could be so difficult, because that could be not neither the cat nor the altar. Sometimes the cat leads to the altar. Every feline species will lead you to the altar. They are the protectors of the altars, and it depends what happens with a feline.
Why are they the protectors of the altar?
Let me tell you.
Okay.
But then it is going to be different for me, with no relationship with cats and jaguars and leopard and whatever, and tigers or whatever. Maybe my dream is going to be clear, or with not so much disturbance, not so much noise. But for you that grow with hair of a cat, the dream maybe could mean neither the cat nor the protection of the altar, neither the asking of an altar. That is the meaning. They are the protectors because they are going to tell you that the altar is asking you something, but you are not. Let's say they are going to open the door to you. They are the protectors. You have to gain power over them for them to open the world for you, to open an altar to you. So if you have so much heavy ideas and if you have so much heavy weight on something, associations, then you have to clean up. You have to clean that associations you have with people, with everything. Whenever something is so much associated with something beyond their nature, you're going to fail in translating your dreams or the others. Even that could be also religious passion or spirituality passion for something. Maybe you need to clean everything to try, well, at least to try to put it in the proper way in which it is. A cat is a cat. A cat is a domesticated feline. That's it. Not my aunt's cats, not the hair, not the sickness, not the pressure, not to be alone, not with mother, not whatever it is the association. So one of the first real good one exercise you have to do while becoming a dreamer is to clean up everything, every single association you have with things. You have to let it as what it is, the most that you can. Then your dreams are going to clarify little by little.
Wow, that's interesting. I've never really thought about that, like to be a student of your own dreams. That's really interesting. Oh,
we have this nature of making associations. Let's say, and I think, believe me, that is stronger in the Western world. Because as I saw, even in the language, for example, you tend to classify people, and you say Donald Trump is the next Hitler, and if you saw someone taking pills, you Elvis Presley one, or you make so much classifications in that way. And as for example, he's the next Michael Jackson. He's the and things like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Then and we always have the dumb friend, the impossible woman dream, the impossible partner, the one I used to love, and
yeah.
And as for example, your father used Ray-Ban lens all your childhood, but so you were always afraid of what he was, what was his real mood, but you couldn't never even see his eyes. Now you're going to hate those glasses. And then everything that we have with an heavy association is a way to lose a dream. You have to fight to let the interpretations go, to try to go to the best of your no judgment over things capacity. When doing that, your dreams are going to be clear. As for example, there's a Mayan saying, a dreamer's saying that goes like, the most heavy your interpretations and associations are, the most brutal and violent your dream is going to be. For example, when something tries to reach to your attention, and if you have strong associations, then that thing is going to present to you in a violent way. For example, you have to work from the morning till the afternoon. You came home late, tired, and even if you want, you cannot pay attention to the nephew that is living with you in the house. You love him, but he's not really your son, but he's your nephew, but the nephew loves you, but you are so tired, but okay, next Sunday, or whatever. If that nephew who loves you begins to feel that you're not paying attention or feeling you not so close to him and distant and cold or whatever, maybe the nephew is not going to send the dream, but the inner spirit of the nephew is going to send the dream. If you have so much interpretations, the nephew is not going to tell you, here I am. You are going to dream that he's going to be dead. You are going to dream that he has a car accident. You are going to dream that he's in a hospital. You are going to dream that someone beats him. And that's the only way in which the spirit is going to find a way to wake up or to try to send a message to a person that has so much associations. You have to clear your mind, you have to clear your judgment and try to reach or to understand what you think about things. And believe me, it is a very beautiful exercise of years of exercise.
Yeah.
And you can use the Mayan calendar to try to understand. For example, you put attention to what Nawalimosh dreams told you. Whenever you pay attention every 20 days of what Imosh is telling you, Imosh is going to recognize that you are paying attention. So Imosh is going to tell you what is your madness, what is the things that you do in a crazy way, when you lose control over things. And it is going to send you the signals of what is that. In other words, you are going to dream your sadness, your madness. And little by little, you can identify what is Nawalimosh telling you. And then when identifying what is happening, then you can cut, as to say, the energy, the weight, the association, the problem to try to resolve. Or not to try to resolve, but now you know.
When you were talking about clearing away your associations, the thing that came to my mind was the story of the smoky mirror. Is that a real story?
Yeah.
It was just basically the idea that you couldn't see clearly. That's really, really, really interesting. Once again, I'm probably going to have to sit and think about that one for a couple of days and let it sink in, because I'm sure that I have a lot of associations with all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, so let's see. After I have slowly, taken my associations away, day by day, week by week, maybe even year by year, and my dreams start to become clear, is there a way that I could, maybe the next step of being a student, like, for example, I go into a dream with a question, and maybe I'm wondering about this, or is it more something that I just sort of wait?
No, there are two ways in those, and that leads to another way of another observation of the elders that says that I'm going to put it in the easy that I can. Let me. Dreams is not for the mind. Dreams is mostly the way of the spirit. So you have to take off all the weight of the mind. But it is honest to use the mind to go to dream. I love it. How it sounds.
Sounds like a poem.
Yeah. Yes.
That's my new tattoo.
Yeah. So it ended very good. Well, so what I'm saying that sometimes there are some times in which using the mind you're going to find answers, but the mind also gets exhausted. So the mind can send you false dreaming. And there's another observation. Sometimes due to the fact of attachment with persons, situations, atmospheres, or the land, or whatever, the other or something that you think about, ponder about, can answer you something. The less the mind is used, the clearer the message is. And that is another way of understanding dreams. How much mind weight are in your dreaming. And what we have to do, let me think about that, is to ask a question, to ask a clear, good question that not includes the answer in the middle of the question, and let it happen without anxiousness. Little by little we can gain power over dreams or in clarity in the mind, so the spirit can tell you naturally. So it is also an exercise of light, to be light in lightness. Let me see.
Lighthearted.
Also, yes,
Lightness.
Lightness, yeah. Even this one, I love it.
Swiftness.
Swiftness in the mind. Yeah, agility. Agility. All of those in the mind and in the spirit. The mind serves a purpose, but we push so much pressure in the mind. So you have to prepare little by little, asking to the proper Nahual, and let them, all the Nahuals, to let them know that now you're paying attention. And that is a direct dialogue, something very simple like, I'm going to go to dream. I used to do it during years. No, I don't need to do it anymore, but during years, when I was with the head in the pillow, I was saying, okay, today's night is going to be ruled by the Nahual of the thunder. That is the fire, that is the pain, that is the sacrifice. I'm ready to listen. And during months, not even months, weeks, maybe sometimes here and there was a good message. But then, well, I told you it's my gift. Then I was like, okay, today I'm going to receive messages of Nahualcat. Nahualcat means complication, depth, to have a task. And now, whatever you have to tell me, I'm going to listen. I announce not in a loud voice. I was in my pillow, but I live alone, so I just putting my head in the pillow, like, okay. What is today? Today is Book of Cat. Okay, those are complication dreamings are coming. Well, okay, that's okay. Good. Knowing, like acknowledging that the substance and the nature of the coming dream or possible message already has a peculiarity from the Nahual that is going to send it. So you have to make the exercise day by day, knowing the Nahual and telling the Nahual, and to be prepared to know that every single dream in every single day could be different, and it is going to send us different message. Then little by little you are going to gain attention. What it has been the success of my way of dreaming is obviously that I know which Nahual has this power over this night. Who it is going to be different, the nature of the dream, because of the ruler of dreams in that day. So I knew there's going to be a differentiation, and I knew which is the core nature of every day. So I knew there's going to be different. I know, I acknowledge, and I know. Whenever you get accustomed to that, whenever you don't believe, you know for a matter of fact that can happen, then your dreams became to come in a natural way, and with so much elements. And if you also take off the weight of associations, little by little you are going to get clearer and clearer and clearer dreams. That's my way. So now sometimes when I know that the day is kind of a little bit, let's say, painful, I remember and I say, but in those moments I don't do anything in a daily basis. I'm having dreams. What I don't like is when there's, let's say, but this is personal. What I don't like so much, but I'm still open to be dreaming like that, is when people that I cannot help send me messages. I already have had a very bad experience when having a series of dreams about a man that was going to have problems. And I announced that he was going to have problems, and he ended having problems. And there was this accusation that I was a bad person because I announced bad things, but it was not true. It seems that you can receive messages, but sometimes, and it is not the purpose of having dreams that you have to announce. You have to choose to select. One day, for example, now it came to my mind. One day I was asked by a friend that he asked me, which one was the most powerful of the gifts, or which is the most important thing you have learned during all those years? Obviously, he was asking me about, let's say, having big problem, big powers of understanding, to see through people's life, or to have divination powers, of to have healing powers, or to have extra strength, or a dialogue directly with God, something like that. He was, in reality, that was the nature of the question. And he was like shocked when I said, the most important thing that I've learned during these years, and also it can count as a gift, is when to say something, or the proper way to say something, or to stay silent, to let the world go. That's and that is something that you have to have if you're going to be a good dreamer, because you're going to see the reality, or some other realities, or some ways to understand realities, or not realities at all, but you're going to have a communication with everything around you. But that doesn't mean you have to announce, not even to talk about that.
Well, I mean, that type of thing just comes from time. Like, a youthful person is not going to be able to do that very well, whereas somebody who has experience, I'm not really a dreamer or anything, but I mean, I've learned to, basically when to shut up, like, as I've gotten older,
What happened in this world, and I know, or maybe some other different spiritual guys from other traditions could experience the same, is that now you know. You fight for things to be clear to you, and now you know. Now let the world go. It is, if not, you're going to get into very, very, very difficult problems, dramas. Now, the only ones in Mayan cultures were the prophets. There's an in ancient times there was like an specialization. Until recent times, there's still some persons called prophets. Mostly in the Tsutuhil area. Those prophets were told that they were dreamers and things like that. They can announce things. But at the moment, I don't know about any, or if there's still any, because they enter into human madness. They begin to announce things that didn't happen and things like that, and they were disappearing. But as long as I know, there's no one there's no more or any more in the culture. Sometimes people come to my house asking questions and things, and I ask that's one of the first questions. What have you been dreaming during these last days, weeks? There's people that call me especially to tell me, that I dreamed this and that. Sometimes there's people who says, I dreamed you. And I said, okay, tell me. Thank you. And sometimes, and very commonly, I dream everybody. I dream so much things. But from the huge amount of things, what I do is to resolve my schedule to proceed to take decisions mostly in the personal way, and sometimes, but only in a rare way, I make the connection with the person. Just or sometimes being this new way of communication, I send a chat or a message and say hello, and that could be enough for the people to tell me, I was thinking about you, let me make you this, can I go to your house, can we arrange a date? And that's something that is very peculiar because it's happening now with technology. In my case, it's like that.
It's much faster now, you know. I can dream something about somebody on the other side of the world and send them a chat. Boom. Hey, I saw you last night. Um, except for you, you know, or
Yeah, but for example, the other day I knew that a friend who has a very good business was robbed by one of his assistants. He's a woman, and although I haven't seen him during months, because he was in love with a friend of mine, and when they broke, I didn't see him anymore. And but he was a very good friend. I loved how he thinks, how he see things, how he makes structures in the mind to explain things. He has a very good conversation, but he was no longer my friend, and or he was distant. The other day I dream about him, something without any importance in the dream, but I know, and that is called intervention dream. There are different kind of dreams. This is called intervention dreams. That knowing that I was having a dream with him, I knew that he was that he at least think about me. Then in the morning, I send a WhatsApp and I say, "Hi, hello, how are you?" And he said, "You got me now. I was thinking about you, thinking in writing to you." That is an intervention dream because uh, I don't care about him. He's my friend. That's okay. But whenever my dream time is occupied by someone that I don't care, or that is close, or that is away, or that has no, let's say, close important in something, that is an intervention dream. He wants something from you, or she, or whatever. It is like an interruption of my dreams regular drama.
that's interesting because a lot of people have these dreams. You know, that's a pretty common thing. Like once in a while, usually women, um, somebody will just send me a message from nowhere, just say, "Hey, I saw you in my dream yesterday. Like, how are you?" Or you know, it happens to me sometimes, and oftentimes I don't contact the person because it might be somebody I don't like. It might be somebody that I had a bad experience with when I was a kid, or could be anybody really. Like, yeah, somebody who's not particularly important, but in my dream, they just showed up and I was, you know, on some sort of adventure with them, whatever it was. That's really interesting. Yeah, and very common, I think, too.
Yeah, what you can do now is to analyze the person that appears in the dream, and to analyze and to count. Analyze is not the proper word. And to count the Mayan, the Nahual, the Lord or the lady that sent you the message, to understand why that person is appearing.
I will definitely start including that in my thinking and my practice. I think it'll take a lot of time for me to get used to it. I I've read it a few times, and I think it's become more clear to me after talking to you. But I mean, I've never done it, so it's completely new. But yeah, I'd definitely love to try it, and would love to be able to understand it. I do have to go, unfortunately. As always, I'd love to talk to you for for a long time. But you may or may not have something. Last time you told a story about the guy with the vulture, and I thought that was really cool and very, very inspiring. And I thought it was super cool. I've never heard a story like that, and yeah, it just everybody, all my friends that they commented on that. They're like, yeah, really like that story. So I was wondering if you had another story and one. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. If you have one
For the closing of this interview,
yeah.
I'm going to tell you a beautiful story. Just let me go to a little. Just wait for me a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, this one is a very beautiful story. By the way, I have it in an audio from an elder. I'm going to find that audio in Mayan language. It's a very beautiful story. It leads with word, a Mayan conceptualization that it is called Apab'yan. Are you there?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, it is Apab'yan.
What does that mean?
Let me write it to you. Apab'yan es Apab'yan. No, I didn't write it correctly. Yeah, Apab'yan.
Okay.
Apab'yan means more or less is not so keen. There's no a keen translation for that, but that could mean something like the way of the tears, or the instrumentation of pain and tears, the way of how pain goes, the actions of pain, things like that. Well, the story is a beautiful one, and also it says that it goes with some another observation, beautiful one, that says that a drop, as for example, a single drop of blood can change the world, but and also a single drop of a tear can change the world. And there are so much stories related with that observation. This one is about a girl. There's a little beautiful one that lives in the house with the father, but with the mother, but in the family compound, the bigger brother in the family is already married. And then in the daily life in the house, it results that the spouse, the brothers,
Why?
wife. Oh yeah, it's so easy.
Wife.
You knew that one.
Yeah, sometimes it's not
Yeah.
my mother. Well, then but in the daily life, the wife of the brother is a little bit mean with the little baby, with the little one. They don't like each other, but the wife is so mean and a little bit nasty with the little sister. They don't like each other, but the wife, she has more power because he's has more weight in the family decisions and everything. So one day they discover that something is missed in the house, and the wife of the brother says, "That was the little one. She steal the money." And then the brother and the father, they beat the little girl. In some other occasion the same, something gets broke, and the wife says, "She was a little one, she's always doing stupid things." And then the little one gets beaten. And in time it is the same all the time. Then one day something very beautiful from the family compound, some very important in the original story is a jewel from the house. It's sometimes they say that is a ring. Jewel in the house. Sometimes it is as a ring, something with value in the house disappear from the house, but it's something that is very important for the family. And then the wife says, obviously she was the one that is still the ring, the jewel, and she give it to someone else. Then they beat the little girl. The brother, the father, the mother, and she's expulsed from the house. But it's a little girl. So she goes crying to the mountain, and she's crying very sadly about these things and this abuse. And in one moment, an elder woman that we call Rignan, that's it, an elder, that is walking through the mountains, saw her crying over there, and she asked, "What happened to you, little baby? Why are you so injured? Why are you so beaten? Why are you crying in this way? Your clothes is not in a good condition. What happened to you?" And the little girl begins to cry and told the elder woman the story about what happened. And the woman says, "But you know, there's balance in the world." And I'm going to clarify something. She's not saying justice. She says balance in the world. I'm going to give you these couple of coins for you to buy a candle. and be sure to keep your tears till the moment in which you can light this candle. And you are going to come here to the mountain, to this stone that is now testifying your pain, and you are going to ask this mountain and this stone and this place and this moment to gives you back balance and to put everything in the right place. So the baby girl goes to the town, buys a candle, and do what the woman says, and then she begins to cry, light the candle, and all the tears fall into the earth. Then what happened is that in this moment, the spiritual guide told you, if you are not able to deal with pain, don't produce pain. Because if you produce pain, the pain can return to you. If you know how to deal with it, that's your decision, but if not, don't produce pain. That's it, as simple as that. What happened is that after a couple of days, being loose in the mountain, lost in the mountain, finally one of the other brothers found her and returned her, the little baby, to the house. What he saw is that the wife of the elder brother was having fever and was having a very, very, very not understandable sickness.
Mm-hmm.
And she was having bad dreams, and she was having fever, and she was losing consciousness. But nobody asked for the woman, but they were still treating in a bad way to the little girl. So, but the other woman couldn't recover, and people tried to be suspicious about this, thinking that he was having something that was not, let's say, like a sickness as such. So they call a spiritual guide, an ich. The spiritual guide goes to the house, make the consultations, see the crystals and the divine seeds for divination, touches the woman and says, "You're not going to recover. You produce so much pain and now you're receiving it back. I cannot do something for you." And then in that moment, she died. After the moment of everything that happened in that point, everything is in shock. And when they begin to prepare the body for burying, for funeral processes or services, they found that the ring, the jewel, was in her cloth. So they call the Al-Ich, and the Al-Ich says, "I already say it. If you are not able to deal with pain, don't produce pain. That's it." And that is the story of Apab'yan. The tears of the little baby changed the world. With one single candle, everything was resolved. That's the story.
Another beautiful story. Thank you very much. I'm sure, I'm sure people will really enjoy hearing that one. Once again, it was really great talking to you. Thanks so much for sharing, your experience and your knowledge. And I hope you can find peace in these next, couple days or weeks, with your friend and his family or whatever.
Well, thank you. I think I'm okay now. What I need is to rest because I was talking with everybody during the last couple of nights, but I cannot do anymore. I need to be in peace. Tomorrow I have a Mayan ceremony, and also what I don't know. It is what is going to happen with his sister, and I don't know what it is going to happen. So maybe a dream is going to tell me no, or it is going to tell me yes. Well, the door is open. I don't know. I'm open to whatever.
Well, okay. You led me to ask one more question. I think I'm probably still okay here for another minute or two. So tomorrow's a ceremony. It's Apab'yan tomorrow for you?
Yes. 13 Apab'yan.
Could you say something about Oshlahu Apab'yan?
That it means the biggest, the accumulated, and the strongest clarity. That is one sense, one face, one face of the Nahual, and the other in the numeral way goes the same. It is the accumulation, the strength, the biggest. Complaint. Yeah, to be in clarity, it is also the same energy as to say, or substance or nature of this Nahual leads to clarity, classification. It is the Nahual of dreams. She is the Nahual of dreams, Nahual Akabal. Because it's Akabil, it is the night and it is the morning, and it is called the light in the night, the light in darkness. That things that make like shining. I think it's like shining like sparks.
Okay.
The clarity that goes like sparks in the middle of darkness. That's the meaning of one of the meanings of the Nahual. So you can have clarity. That's why it's the ruler. She's the ruler of dreams. But at the same time, when having no strength or energy or impulse, it is the day of complaining. It is the day of the one that is always complaining about something. So tomorrow is in this moment it is already under her reign. Is the Nahual of the most gained clarity because of the nature of accumulation. But if you didn't do the proper things or the right ones, or at least to flow with time, let's say in a harmonic way, maybe tomorrow is the day in which tomorrow you are going to be complaining about something very painful. Okay. So I'm going to perform a ceremony, first of all because it's also one of my trecena, 13 days of my own organization or my own corporation of Nahuals.
Your birthday.
But also because, like a little bit like one of the most important elements of my Mayan birthday. But also at the same time, I have to go to a family's shrine to ask for clarity in some problems that they have been experienced. They already know that if I saw something that is not going, they are not prepared to listen. I'm not going to say it, but they know that I do the things to lead them to understand things, or just to resolve things. Most of my clients ask me to do something and they forget about the things. And they are very, very, very bad accustomed to. Well, it is not bad accustomed, but they have so much confidence in me. So now I'm going to pay for clarity in the middle of this house because they have been experienced things they cannot explain, and they need to clarify, and they need to resolve familiar tensions.
Okay, so
Here.
it's more of a family ceremony for these specific people, but also for yourself.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes, I touch the day with ceremony. It is. We always, the spiritual guy always gains something in every ceremony. Sometimes it's knowledge, sometimes it's power, as I told you. Sometimes is well, let's say love. You always get something from every single ceremony. Then tomorrow I'm going to go happily to go to find, to ask or to pay for clarity to this family, because they have been my clients during like 14 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so they knew me, they prepare food for me. After ceremony we have fun, and they are also, what I think is very beautiful is that they said, okay, he's already in the house, he already performed the ceremony, there's no more to be, there's no need to be preoccupied anymore. And I love that attitude, because that is what is going to change. Maybe it is not even my work, it is the attitude and the the story of the baby. A drop on, and I can rearranging the words, I can say a drop of real purpose will change the world.
Okay. So it goes back to the story we just heard.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, that's good, you know. It's good to see the moral of the story kind of acted out. Yeah, really cool. I got a million more questions, of course. My favorite Tracina is the cat Tracina. I love that one. It always seems to be like a chain of really fun days, you know. I don't know if you agree with me or not. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that, actually. You jumped when I said...
Well, what happened, it is that the Tresena, Nem, that is the name in Mayan, that is reigned by Kat, is a very difficult one. It's
Cat? You mean Hoon Cat?
Kat 13 Kat.
Oh, okay. I was talking about the one after Oshlahu Akabal.
Hunkat.
Yeah.
But this is the sacred one, that is the one that rules over the change of the calendar. Yeah, that's a beautiful one. That's a very beautiful, and the explanation beyond the Mayan custom of performing the New Year is a very beautiful one. Some of the Trecenas are very, very well. Every single Trecena is fascinating.
Sure, yeah.
It's a system. And then knowing all of them, you get so fascinated and you get in love with Mayan culture.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I always found like I could mark it on my calendar months in advance. Like whenever Hoon Cat and that whole Tracina came, it was a good day, you know. I could take my balls and go to the beach and just relax. It was always really fun. Like very predictably a good time. I haven't not figured out how to find which ones are predictably difficult. I guess I haven't paid attention to that yet. But yeah, Hoon Cat and all the rest of the days there, I always thought were, just super fun and relaxed and easy. And I heard you guys had a New Year, keep bats.
That's it.
That's the important day. Once again, I don't know much about it, but I read about, how it's important and stuff.
Yeah, that day has so much importance, but in the end, all days has importance. That is chosen to be important because of the renovation of the calendarical procedures and even social interlocking of purpose. But every single day is important and beautiful.
Okay, really cool. Yeah, thanks again for taking the time to talk to me, and I hope I can talk to you again sometime.
Okay, well, next time in Japan.
Yeah.
Well, have a good day. I'm going to have a good night. I'm going to maybe I'm going to dream. Oshlecho Chabal is a very powerful novel. Is the novel that gives me the gift to dreaming. Also, in all my childhood, it was like a curse. Now it's a gift, and it is a very special day for me. And it is and the day is going to close my ceremonial time, or all the days that enclose what is important for me, especially for me. So have a good day. Have a good, we shall talk later.
Okay, very good. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Wow, that was an amazing episode, and once again, as always, I learned a lot. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and don't forget to rate us 5 stars on iTunes. Hopefully, we will see you again soon. Have an epic day, and keep on living the Zolkeen.